Right now on the Pro Wrestling Show presents the NXT Deadline Predict the Outcome. As you see some of these matches, especially the top main event match tonight, Bron Breakker defends the NXT Championship against Apollo Crews. Bron Breakker takes his friendship and tries to, for mutual respect, against Apollo Crews for the NXT title. We'll talk about that, as well as the signature event for Deadline, the men's and women's Iron Survival matches. These Iron Survival matches are, we'll explain the rules of what the Iron Survival matches are between the men's and women's and how we got far from here tonight. We'll talk about it coming up as the NXT Predict the Outcome for NXT Deadline starts right now. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this edition of the Pro Wrestling Show, the special edition of the Pro Wrestling Show, the final Predict the Outcome for the year of 2022. I've been your host, Kendra Dix, here for the NXT Deadline, the first NXT Deadline event of the last WWE pay-per-view of the year coming from NXT. Thank you all for watching. We're going to get a lot into this action and what's going on with reviews and what happened this past week on NXT. But first thing first, join in the conversation using the hashtag Pro Wrestling Show here on Connect TV and our digital platforms as well. We thank you all for watching. And don't forget to subscribe. Subscribing is caring. Tell a friend, call a friend, hit that subscribe button so you won't miss a thing here on the Pro Wrestling Show. What a Pro Wrestling Show we have for you. The final, not the final Pro Wrestling Show, but the final Predict the Outcome from the year 2022. We're going to kick things off with a bang, as we're going to talk about right here. The Iron Man Survival Challenge. These are two different matches. They want to have one for the men's division right here and one for the women's division as well. So we're going to kick things off on what these matches are and how important these matches are. We're going to kick things off with this. It all started with WWE Hall of Famer Shawn Michaels, I might well say the senior vice president, the commissioner of NXT in a way. Shawn Michaels, NXT commissioner, decided to do a Iron Challenge survival match, but he needed help. He got help of fellow Hall of Famers, including Road Dogg, X-Pac, fellow Hall of Famers, as well as Alundra Blaze / Medusa Michelli and Molly Holly, to help him discuss what participants who has been on the rise in NXT. And all of them are up and coming bright stars in the NXT brand. And like I said, the NXT brand is gaining traction and gaining momentum. Even NXT is moving. I mean, we'll talk about it coming up, what their plans are coming up in the future and how these future plans are for NXT going forward. They're moving on the road coming up in February. We'll talk about it coming up. Well, HBK sat down with the fellow Hall of Famers as his panel to discuss which superstars are making an impact. And HBK didn't have to look left nor right as the superstars named. And we're going to start things off with the women. This is right here, a battle of nutrition. What is the Iron Challenge of Survival? HBK explained the rules, saying that the Iron Challenge Survival will be a mixture between, if you're an AWA fan, if you remember the Team Challenge series, as well as the Championship Scramble. There will be time limits. There'll be elements of the Championship Scramble in the Team Challenge series, sort of like King of the Mountain as well in TNA and Impact. Well, those elements will come to fruition and come to play We know there's going to be a um 20-minute match with rules. You get pinned, you go in the pin box. However, they explain the rules and stuff. But it's really intriguing and interesting to see who's going to walk out with the as being the first men's and women's Iron Challenge survival winner. And that's the that's the fun part. Who wants to know? Well, that's why I'm here, and I want to see who the participants. These were the legends pick. The legends picked Carmelo Hayes, JD Madonna, Exxon, Grayson Waller, and Joe Gacy. These five men have been in the championship contention as well as being in the championship match. Somewhere in the NXT championship, in the North American championship. Um, Exxon got his win this week. Qualifying. Exxon had to qualify to get himself into the match as well. He went against Von Wagner and Andrew Chase. Well, we know that, and also too, with with JD Madonna playing key role as well, being in the NXT championship as well. Didn't win it, but he could be a contender sooner rather than later. Also, too, Grayson Waller been a big head himself, talking with talking points. Grayson Waller has been doing his thing as well, being arrogant, cocky, getting wins over AJ Styles and a couple of other folks. Acting more like the Miz in a way. Well, like I said, this match is built on nutrition, and you have to wonder like who is going to leave. Which one of these five men will leave out NXT? Um, NXT as the new winner of the Iron Challenge Survival. Look for, to me, none better. He's been on the roll as of late. He has you know, been on the top of the mountain. Look for Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo Hayes has an amazing year, winning the North American Championship, skyrocket him to become NXT North American Champion, and then sooner or later, one day, becoming the man in NXT. And I think 2023 will be his year of him being the man and him winning the gold with somewhat whatsoever. So look for Carmelo Hayes to emerge victorious. Carmelo Hayes getting that shot to become number one contender for the NXT championship and probably go to Vengeance to win the championship in Charlotte and whoever the NXT champion may be. So hey, whoever wins, look for Carmelo Hayes to win and go on. So look for that. Also, too, we talked about it too. We'll talk about the women's, but it rare interesting. The New Day making an appearance on Deadline. The New Day taking on Pretty Deadly, the tag team champion. The New Day looking for gold. And what goal for the New Day look for the NXT Tag Team Champion? New Day was the longest reigning WWE Tag Team Champions until they got overthrown and defeated by the Usos a couple weeks ago on SmackDown. Now the New Day looking for gold. They interrupted Pretty Deadly's Christmas and stuff. So it ain't no telling the New Day trying to do the job and stuff for Pretty Deadly. Look for Pretty Deadly to retain their tag team championship and Pretty Deadly getting that seal of approval for the by the New Day and getting that win. So look for Pretty Deadly to get the job done. Great tag team is just their gimmick, but it is what it is. Speaking of that, Abba Fire taking on Essa Dunn. These two women have been trying to. Issa Dawn cost Alba Fire the NXT Women's Championship, and Alba Fire looking for revenge. Look for Issa Dawn to get the win over Alba Fire to continue their rivalry one way or another. Look for Issa Dawn, who coming from NXT UK, and Alba Fire as well, continue their rivalry going forward and stuff. So hey. Speaking of that, the women's um match, the women's NXT match, as you see right here, the women's match. We can tell right here. I think the women will start at the beginning of the show. Um, like I said, these women are really and ready. Um, look for the two front runners. It can be either I think it can be a 3 horse race to me. You got I don't know. It's everybody in this match is viable. You got Zoe Starks, you got Cora J, you got um Raquel Perez, you got Keena James and Indy Hartwell. Indy Hartwell been looking impressive as of late. Um like I say, even Medusa, even a lot of the legends had a lot to say about Zoe Starks. But look for this being a dark horse as well. Keena James could be a dark horse in that match to cause some ruckus and cause some noise. But I look at it like this: Roxanne Perez will win, and Roxanne Perez will go on to be the number one contender and probably win the NXT Women's title from Mandy Rose and take on Mandy Rose. So look for Roxanne Perez to win and get the job done one way or another. So she'll put up a fight, and don't be shocked. There'll be the last two between Indy Hartwell and Roxanne Perez battling out to who to become the next challenger for Indy Mandy Rose's women's title. All right, and finally the main event for the NXT Championship as Bron Breakker defends his championship against Paulo Cruz. Both men possess power, strength, and size. Both men are fairly equally matched, but we haven't seen no tension or friction. It's all been about they being a I guess buddy in a way where we're both hanging out in a diner, um enjoying each other company and stuff. But you have to know when it comes to business and the championship is on the line, you can throw that all out the window and stuff. But it's been a couple days there, and then this past week on NXT they was boat riding together. So there's a lot going on to see who is going to emerge NXT champion. Between Braun Breaker and Apollo Cruz, there is respect, a mutual respect there. But when the championship is on the line, respect goes out the window. Who's the best in NXT? Who is going to become the face? Braun Breaker has been the foundation in NXT for almost a year now, even making the debut and making the jump. So Braun Breaker has been on the road. Challenges keep laying race line by line. Paulo Cruz, a former United States / Intercontinental champion, wants to stake his claim and stake that he's the best in NXT. To do so, he has to dethrone Braun Breaker, who is the man right now with the NXT championship around his waist. Um, look for respect, but I wouldn't be shocked nor surprised if Apollo Cruz does something despicable and does something to leave folks wondering that he wasn't really friends with Braun Breaker in the beginning. It was just he was just using him as a way and stuff. But at the end, I see Braun Breaker winning the match and emerge victorious as NXT champion heading into 2023. All right. We want to thank you for watching this edition of the Pro Wrestling Show, the last Pro Wrestling Show. Predict the outcome for 2022. We know the first one will be for the Royal Rumble coming up in January next month. So a new year, a new sight and sound, and hopefully NXT stars will be represented. And hopefully my predictions and will be correct. We'll just have to wait and see and find out how it's all going to turn out. But you know how that be. Thank you all for watching this edition of the Pro Wrestling Show presents Predict the Outcome for WWE. Well, we got one more thing. Hot topics right quick. We know that Sean Ross Sapp was the one to break the news that Shawn Michaels has decided that NXT is going to travel for some upcoming pay-per-views. NXT Vengeance Day from Charlotte will be in February. What a phenomenal way for NXT going on the road and really finna really make money going on the road. So congratulations to NXT. Congratulations on their first pay-per-view. This is a big one, and hopefully we'll see what the NXT brand can do coming up in February. February is an important month in all of the year to me. So hey, so we'll see that. But also too, we also got talking about that as well. We're hearing reports that Kobe Carino could be making his way to the Performance Center and Sunday come to NXT. Who can imagine Kobe Carino coming to NXT making somewhat of a impact in a way. Kobe Carino, the father of Steve, the son of Steve Carino, who also is an NXT producer and down in the Performance Center as well as a Performance Center official. So he would like to bring his son. So hey, it is what it is. We'll have to wait and see on that. All right. Thank you for watching this edition of the Pro Wrestling Show presents Predict the Outcome for NXT Deadline. I've been your host, Kendrick Dick, saying so long, and thank you for watching. We'll see you at NXT Deadline on Peacock. See you later.